found objects to me are more, though I like the information they carry because you recognize them from other situations, and I like the fact that they have various associations, and I can play off of those associations. Lampshades for a few reasons. First thing, I think they're really pretty lovely. I mean, to have that, especially a really nice lampshade, has a structure underneath it and a kind of skin stretched over it, and I think that the forms are really kind of elegant at times and really very simple and lovely. And I like the fact that right now I'm really interested in things that are organic, and in a lot of the shapes I'm using, and I think that the lampshade is kind of based on a nature shape, and so I'm really interested in that. And the materials are pretty elegant. I like them because they're kind of stupid at the same time and ridiculous. And like a piece like the virus piece that's behind me is, those are the most atrocious lampshades if you think about those in your house on a lamp. But they're really kind of lovely objects, but just as lampshades, they're kind of ridiculous. And so I like that aspect of them, that they kind of fiddle with the taste barrier a little bit. Right now, you know, I'm working with natural shapes primarily. I'm really interested in currently in things that have implications of spores and seeds and germs, and you know, I was looking at some virus books and viruses, and the kind of beauty of the nastiness of those things, and the kind of bigger implications of them, and the building block element that has, you know, I mean, open up a virus book, and you see a virus for hepatitis photograph, you know, just the virus, and you see it in a kind of color-separated photograph, and the beauty of the image versus the implications of knowing what it is. So I mean, I think that's a kind of opposition thing I've always worked with. I work with brooms and sometimes and a lot of lampshades and Japanese lanterns and things that have various cultural implications, you know, and umbrellas, but primarily Oriental umbrellas, partially because of their shape and partially because they because they have this other kind of weird cultural implication of the fact that I buy them in souvenir shops, but the fact that they're almost seen because of their exoticness, they imply a certain meaning in this culture that whether they have it or not, you know. Japanese lanterns are somehow, they're beautiful shapes, and I love them for that reason. I also think they're funny because they're kind of spiritually assigned some spiritual value because they come from the East, and there's a kind of mystery, and that's pretty consistent in our culture. And so I kind of both use that and I play off of it, and you know, somebody was here from New York and was in my studio and was looking at things and thought the Japanese lanterns are really exotic and hard to get. You know, where did you find these? And I said, well, the Pier 1 down the street, and I think that's sort of interesting. So I use those elements now. I think what's essentially remained is a kind of circularness and a kind of in motion quality. Shapes evolving. One thing I like about using the lampshades, and in every given situation there's a control, and there's I mean, this is kind of back to that nature and non-nature aspect of it, and new and old aspect. They're old lampshades, but they're new sculptures. But there's a degree of accidentalness, and there's a degree of control in putting them together, and it's a little bit like a ballroom dance, you know, between you know, control and accident. Control, you know, there's sometimes one leads, sometimes the other, and I've been getting these lampshades from the lamp store, Nicoletti's, and picking them up afterwards and stitching them in. And initially, as the ball started to form, it was completely governed by what set of lampshades I got that day, and then from that, kind of order I could put them in, what made sense that day. So even though it's primarily sphere-like, there's an element in there that's completely governed. I didn't have all the lampshades to begin with. It's completely governed by what lampshades I got to that day. Now, as I get to the top, I have to be a little bit more selective because you need the key lampshade that will close the sphere. But that's kind of interesting right there. You've got, you've got a little metaphor about the amount of control and the amount of accident in anything you do. And I think that's a nice little thing about, I think that actually kind of happens in all my pieces. There's a certain amount of, I waltz the control and the accident sort of together until it makes a nice little dance.